big question is about health. You know, I'm in my 40s, you're in your 50s. And a big question that a lot of people have is about health. And I know you and I have touched on this before, and I want to talk about the misconception of health. First of all, because you and I have both been through that with modeling.
Yes.
Everyone thought we were so healthy because we were thin or we fit a certain box that maybe looks a certain way, but both of us felt our most unhealthy years ago, and probably I would say our most healthy now in this season, right?
My comprehension of what healthy, you know, means has changed. When I was younger, I thought healthy was just, you know, eat well, exercise, and, you know, make sure I'm 10 pounds underweight so I give back that 10 pounds that the camera tries to put on. So I'm lean. And that's what I thought healthy was. And maybe getting, you know, 5 hours sleep.
What is the biggest change from your 20s or 30s and now into your 50s? Like on a daily, I know that you speak a lot about mental health because that is much more important or equally as important as your physical health. It is like walk through your daily, what that has changed from your 20s or 30s. I'm just going to say 30s because 20s is like... who's really into
anything in their 20s.
But from 30s to 50s or like to mid 50s, that's a big change.
Yes, it's a big difference, and everything changes. The texture of your skin, you know, your hormone balance. I used to, you know, be able to, if I had to lose weight specifically for a job or something like that, I would just like eat less and exercise more for a couple of days. I mean, it doesn't work like that now. And it's actually not healthy for me now. And in fact, you know, today during COVID, I think I probably put on somewhere between 8 and 10 pounds during COVID. And I don't understand why. Maybe I'm more relaxed at home, but I also think that this obsession with being too thin, forget about it being healthy. Sometimes it's just not supportive. Like, I think there's so much going on in this world. We need to have a little bit of buffering. We can't be constantly detoxing, constantly striving to be super thin because that's some ideal. We need to have a little substance on our bodies to get through this uncertainty.
Just speaking about the difference between men and women too, there's not a lot of scientific evidence or stuff that's come out for women's fasting and how different women are than men, and how we're the ones that, you know, that go through fluctuations monthly. We have these beautiful cycles until you go through menopause, but for most of our life we have this beautiful cycle that we can go with the waves and go. It's not just this constant, like, because people ask me all the time, oh, do you do this every day? How many times do you do a coffee enema? How many times do you ice bath? How many times? And I'm like, it's different. I don't do anything.
It changes.
Yeah. I don't do anything on a linear level because that's not how we're supposed to live.
And also it's just hard to do, Angie. Come on. Like, I had a conversation with someone the other day and I was like, you know, I'm just not on my program at the moment. And the thing is you can't be on a program every day of your life 24/7. You know, there's times, you know, I do intermittent fasting. At sometimes I'm, you know, look, here's my green juice, right? I'm late today and I just don't feel like it, you know, and it's okay. You know, I think the body tells us sometimes when we need to have a break from what we're doing. It gets used to what we're doing, or it just sort of says you're repeating the same things. And I think especially with food, often we just repeat the same foods, and you can build up food tolerances just by eating the same thing day in, day out. And then you expect it to always work for you. And, you know, the body needs, we need to mix things up a little bit. So yes, things have really changed from my 30s to now, because the environment has changed. Our food sources have changed. My understanding of what it means to be well has changed. And my commitment, my discipline and persistence has deepened because I see the benefits, not because, and I'm not on camera anymore, so I'm not that much. So I'm not really motivated by having to go to work every day and fit into, you know, model size clothes. I'm motivated to feel at my best, and not feel at my best only physically, but emotionally. Like I want to be grounded, loving, wise, joyful. I want that feeling of fulfillment. I want that feeling of I can do it.
Like, just knowing you for as many years as I have, I feel like you're at your most influential right now. Because a picture says one story, but I think people are kind of now also getting that that's not the whole story, you know, after years and years and years. But now really, I think because we have access now, you know, to celebrities, we have access to behind the scenes, we have access to raw footage or whatever it is. But being able to be relatable and, like you said, having that inner joy and that inner health, you can't fake that.
It starts physically. And for you guys at home, it's like, I don't wake up just feeling fabulous. I work at it because I value that. So what do I do to work at it? I make sure that I have a really profound metabolic program, simple but profound, like we have with Wellco. Greens in the morning, protein at lunch, sleep tea at night. And then I have
which, by the way, is my giveaway today.
Oh, good. What have you got?
So this is my giveaway today. Sorry to interrupt you, but I forgot to say this at the beginning because I'm doing 21 days of giveaways.
Yeah.
To just give back as much as I can on my page. But
oh, there it is.
So this is called
program, guys.
This is the program. This is the caddy. So this is the greens in the black jar, and then the protein. And the sleep tea, which is actually incredible, by the way. I mean, they all are, but the smell of the tea, I want to talk about that. But this is what we're giving away today. So if you guys haven't signed up for my newsletter, for my 21 days of giveaways, you can still sign up to win this entire package.
That's today, so good. You're so good the way you give back like that. I was talking with a friend of mine about your feed, and you know, you're so polished and considered with your affiliates. It's amazing. You are.
I would not say
everything I see on your feed, I want. You know, and I you know, I'm like every girl. I just look at it and I go, yeah, I want that. I want that. What was the thing the other day that I saw? I said, I'm definitely getting that. I think it's the Aura rings.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't have one of these yet?
No. I want to get one for Christmas. That's on my Christmas list. I think that it's important to understand that nobody just wakes up feeling fabulous. But when you are well, and you do certain practices in a day, the byproduct of it, that is that you feel fabulous and you're inspired to continue doing it. And it's not an effort anymore. It's not like a chore. It's like the reward is so worth it that you go, yeah, I'm going to get up 15 minutes earlier and do my prayer and meditation. Or, you know what, I'm going to put that warm water or that room temperature water and lemon beside my bed, so I drink that first thing in the morning and I don't have to go to the kitchen to make it, and then I could choose a coffee instead. So I put my water and lemon beside my bed, and when I wake up in the morning, that's the first thing I do. And you know, and I make it easy for myself.
Setting yourself up for success, right? Knowing that if you're set up and if you're prepared, you will make better choices.
Absolutely. And then when you make better choices for yourself, you feel stronger, you feel happier, and it's easier to make better choices. And that's what I discovered when I first started the Super Elixir. And for the guys at home, that's the one in the black caddy. It's got about 50 ingredients in it, and it's all 50? Very careful. 50. Yeah. So I think it's 47 or something like that. So a scoop of that powder in water has probiotics, prebiotics, vitamins, minerals, shiitake mushrooms, miyake mushrooms, like all these adaptogens that work together. But when I first started taking that, all my sugar cravings started to diminish. And once I was able to lower the inflammation in my body that was being caused by the sugar, and that sort of cycle of beating myself up because I was always reaching for sugar and the highs and lows, when I could balance that out, from then on I could make great decisions for myself all day. So it's sort of a non-negotiable for me.
A lot of people ask me daily, and this is actually a question for you too, about sugar, because so many people struggle with that. It's an addiction. It's real. I mean, I've talked about it with Dr. Zach Bush, who you love as well. It's not about quitting sugar. No. Because it's almost impossible. It's the same chemical reactions that happen in your brain with cocaine and heroin. Like the addiction, you don't just quit. But what I love about your greens especially, but what you were saying is instead of quitting, you add in first.
Yes.
So you add in things that diminish the cravings, that balance your hormones,
yes.
that give you that satiated feeling where you're not just like reaching for whatever it is.
And it helps you be in the driver's seat, really, of your own wellness journey. And that's what we want to, I think that's what scares most people, is that out of control feeling. Or that they don't have alternatives, or it's like they beat themselves up because, and I know that because I understand, because I went, you know, I went through years of addiction and alcoholism. So, you know, I understand how uncomfortable that thing is when you say, I'm not going to do that again, and then you do it. And and it's demoralizing. I mean, I ended up going to rehab, and that really helped me. And I'm 17 years sober now. I don't even think about it. But I can totally identify with people that say they are on that spiral of sort of, they've got a metabolic deficiency, and it manifests itself in, for example, a sugar addiction. And then they start to beat themselves up because they're making choices for themselves that don't work. So, you know, balance out your hormones, balance out your body, and that helps. And drink lots of water. That's another one. Because the brain is often dehydrated, and it's craving for fats and sugars because it's dehydrated.
Yeah, exactly. Dehydrated first. That's what I always go to. Water first, then build from there. But water first. That was a big question because some people know about your sobriety, other people don't. But people were asking both you and I if we drink alcohol, because I'm not quote unquote sober, but I just choose not to drink. And I mentioned this on Your and My Live before. I used to drink quite often. I used to drink daily. When I was depressed, I would wake up, have my coffee and my cigarette. Then my cigarettes would go throughout the day.
I've been there.
My coffee would kind of get me through to like noon, 2 o'clock, and then I would start drinking. And so the reason why I stopped drinking was because I couldn't have a drink without craving a cigarette.
Yeah.
And then I married someone who just chooses not to drink, not out of any other reason. He just doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't enjoy what it does to his body. He doesn't enjoy what it does to his mind. He doesn't enjoy the feeling afterwards. Because like we were saying, setting ourselves up for success, if you're making the choices at night to drink, know that that'll affect your choices in the morning too. Yeah. Because whenever I drank at night, I didn't wake up just feeling refreshed and ready to hit the day. It was like that cycle.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people manage drinking very, you know, and drink with moderation. And, you know, and there's a lot to be said for having a glass of wine at night. I mean, I would love to be the kind of person that could have a glass of wine at night. For me, it was more like a bottle of vodka. So that was my, you know, that's where I went with it. But
you're 17 years sober now.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I am.
Congratulations.
The best thing that ever happened to me, because it led me on a spiritual journey. It's like when you stop drinking, they say the best thing that happens when you stop drinking is you get your feelings back. And the worst thing that happens when you stop drinking is you get your feelings back. And so then it was like, well, how do I cope with those feelings that I used to try to numb? And so, you know, you learn different coping skills, and you...
Oh, we lost you. Are you there?
What's causing those feelings? So, anyway, I don't have anything against, and I think there are a lot of people that do very well with, you know, with having a glass of wine whenever they choose to do it or whatever they choose to do. I have no moral.
Well, and there's amazing versions of wine now. There's amazing options
organic
for biodynamic,
ones,
organic
clean
wines.
Yeah,
totally. Oh, do you drink coffee? That was a question.
Yeah, that's my thing at the moment. I mean, I drink cayenne coffee. You turned me on to that. And I do love to do a keto coffee, you know, so I do cayenne with the MTC oil or with the coconut oil or with the ghee, or sometimes with the coconut butter, you know, clean, raw coconut butter. So I definitely, you know, coffee I love, but I try to say to myself, okay, like Monday to Friday, I'm going to do my greens first thing in the morning, like, and then on the weekends I say I'm going to have a coffee. So, you know, I feel like being too zealous with myself, it doesn't help me.
Yeah, me either.
A little bit more gentle. And I think clean coffee like Kion is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits from it, just like a biodynamic wine. There's definitely antioxidants and a lot of benefits in that. But I think it's so funny to try and say it across the board, because everyone has a different toxic load and a different burden. And for some people, you know, it triggers different things that may not be a good thing in their season. So to go off coffee or to go off something that's that stimulating may be a good thing for a while. And like you said, just completely just checking in with yourself constantly, because I think we get stuck in thinking that we're the same person that we were yesterday.
Yeah. I do think it's ever changing. I mean, for example, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that when I start the day with wheatgrass, like 2 or 4 ounces of wheatgrass, that I feel better. I have more energy. I'm brighter, lighter, more upbeat, more capable than if I start the day with coffee. That is without a doubt. Now, the taste factor is like, I do my wheatgrass in the morning and I'm like,
I can't. I have to go brush my teeth.
I have to hold my nose.
Oil pull. I have to go do the whole thing.
It's tough. But the feeling is so much. You know, Kate Moss famously said, nothing tastes as good as thin feels. And my version of that would be, nothing tastes as good as well feels. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that wellness needs to taste bad. It really doesn't. And in my case, I just love my wellness protocol. But, you know, if you're talking about like the sort of coffee wheatgrass thing, I would go for the wheatgrass 75 to 80% of the time, because I value that feeling so much. And it sets me up really well for the day. Because it has all the nutrients you need, and it's like 5 pounds of, I think 2 ounces of wheatgrass is like 5 pounds of vegetables.
Wheatgrass is it's unbelievable. That was the #1 thing that my mom did in her cancer protocol when she went to that detox center. Was, I think did
she go to Hippocrates?
No, she went somewhere in San Diego.
Right.
It's escaping me now, but.
Hippocrates is great though. For anybody that's watching and lives in Florida, Hippocrates has a fantastic program, you know, for well-being, wellness, but also they have a pretty, you know, just if you're going through a health crisis, they're really great as well. Yeah.
So experientially wise, this was crazy because my mom was there for a month. I dropped her off and she was 64. Her hair was gray. Her eyebrows were gray, you know, coming through from the dark. And when I went to go pick her up, I literally laughed and I was like, Mom, you're at a wellness center, like at a detox center, and you're dyeing your eyebrows.
Yeah.
And she was like, what are you talking about? I literally picked her up after a month of doing, I mean, she was doing wheatgrass colonics. Like this was a very extreme, you know, for late stage cancer patients. But her eyebrows were dark brown and her hair was coming in dark.
Yeah.
Because of the wheatgrass. They were doing like 64 ounces of wheatgrass a day. That could be crazy.
That's a lot of wheatgrass. But you know, you're right, because there's a lot of science being done around acidity and gray hair. Like whether the gray hair is a function of an acidic body. You know, it's really interesting. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not a doctor. Don't quote me on that, but there is something. But I don't have any gray hair, but I'm sure it's from not having too much of an acidic diet. I think it's having a low, you know, sort of an basically alkaline diet, which is when you're plant-based.
Yeah. I mean, health, you know, for you, what I love is you don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a scientist. You are a vision in your 50s. You're a vision of health. And you can, like I said before, you can't fake that. You can fake it in your 20s. We can fake it in our 30s. But going into the 40s and 50s, let me just readjust my light. That almost fell on me.
It's so dark here. Like, I'm like, my light is so bad because it's like black outside. I need something on my cheeks. Anyway.
No, you don't. The older you get, you can tell the longevity of health really is in those decisions. And,
yes.
you know, we're talking about wheatgrass and how we both hold our nose and like suck it back because we know how good it is for us. But if something isn't sustainable, then I don't encourage it or I don't recommend it, because what happens in your brain of hating something, or, you know, people have told me that they have their coffee enemas still in their closet, and they just haven't gotten up the courage or the motivation. And I know because mine was in my closet for a year as well. But I always say, you'll do it when you're ready. You'll do it when you know that the benefits outweigh the fear, or the why is strong enough of why you're doing it. So even though I hate the taste of wheatgrass, like it makes me gag, but because I know the benefits of it, it's just a no-brainer. Like I just do it and I move on. It's not just this whole cycle. But
and I think in the end, what happens is the body starts to crave what it knows it does well. So, you know, a lot of people will say that about greens, for example. And with our greens, and the flavor is fantastic compared to most greens. It gets to the point, I found when I first started taking this, that in the beginning it was like, oh no, I have to take my greens. And now I crave it. And it's not that I crave the taste. Yeah. It's like my body's asking for it on a daily basis. And if I haven't done it, I'm the kind of person that'll, you know, leave the house and I'll forget and I'll come back and take it because my body's just asking for it. But that's one of the things that I loved about you when I first, I mean, we met a long time ago, but I rediscovered you on Instagram because I was like, oh my God, here's a girl doing the things that I do, like whether it be, you know, ozone therapy or oxygen therapy or infrared sauna, you know, making sure that you're outside, sunshine, you know, all these things that would be sort of like, I mean, I guess when I was growing up, my grandmother was very holistic. And whatever you had, she had a common, you know, she had a sort of natural remedy for. And, you know, I feel like we've lost that over time. We just, you know, we'd either rather take a pill to get rid of it, which never does, it just masks it, or we forget about it, or we think we're just getting old, or, you know, oh, well, that's just the way life is. But there's a natural remedy for most nearly every ailment. And, and to see somebody who was like, practicing what we call now biohacking, but you know, practicing things that were sort of not only about hair and makeup tips and beauty, you know, and wardrobe tips, to see somebody actually going a bit deeper and practicing sort of some really interesting science-based solutions to staying well. And I think staying well is super important, particularly, you know, through this period.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mind, body, and soul. And I think that's what I love about our connection is that we both have been through those seasons, and we've seen that what we did before didn't have a longevity, like didn't have the endurance. And someone wrote to me, how do you gain endurance? Well, you endure.
Yeah, and you practice it. You practice it.
And apply you endure it. And you do it and you do it and you do it over and over again. And if something's not sustainable, then you won't be able to have a flourishing, successful, because everything's connected. Your business, your relationships, your children, your nutrition. Like you can't fake one thing and think it's not going to affect the other.
Everything.
So your spiritual practice will affect your business. Yeah. It'll affect your relationships. It'll affect how you feel about yourself.
In a good way, benefiting.
How you come out. Yeah. Beneficial and not beneficial, because even the words that you say about yourself, you know, can be beneficial or can be very,
your body
very
hears it, right? I think that, you know, the most thing is that for people that are watching, it's just to begin, you know, choose something that is easy to implement, or something that you've been wanting to implement, and just begin. And just, you know, one thing even for 30 days.
that's what's great about your system. I won't like try and balance them and hold them all up again, but it is just that almost that complete system where it is morning, noon, and night. And it's so easy to implement because it's right there. There are these beautiful caddies that you can put up, and it doesn't have to be, you know, in your pantry. You can actually put it out, and then you'll remember to take it. And it's something that you can really feel good about yourself. And it's easy because it's really hard to slow down. It's hard, especially nowadays, if everyone's saying, where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start?
Yeah.
It's a very, very easy way to
Metabolically
start.
is a great way to start, you know.
Yeah. Talk about that for a second, because you don't hear that word a lot.
For me, metabolically means nutrition, getting your vitamins and minerals, starting with, you know, giving what your mitochondria, which is the little battery inside your cells, feeding that. You know, I've often said that I believe that beauty is soul deep, not skin deep. But it really started from the understanding that actually what I put inside my body, including my thoughts and you know, and intentions, but what I put inside my body really had an effect on the outside. And both ways, as you were saying. And so when I started nourishing myself properly, with good nutrition, clean nutrition, balanced and well considered quality organic nutrition, the beautiful byproduct was that my skin changed and my hair changed and my nails grew, and you know, and then of course my mood did. And so you know, it's very hard to be well in life if you're not giving the body the nutrients that it needs on a metabolic level. So, and
what I love too, because I kind of titled this talk "Grace and Grounding," right?
Yeah.
I obviously realize that you and I are in a, I don't even know how to say this, but we're blessed. We're not blessed. We're privileged. We're all the things that I don't have to say on camera because it'll trigger a million things. But what I always try and give to people, which I know that you do as well, are options. So if people can't afford this gorgeous caddy of things, that's not, you don't have to start there. You don't have to start with buying a $50,000 sauna. You don't have to start with doing things that'll make you so stressed out financially that it won't benefit you anyway. But grace and grounding means giving yourself grace, which is free. It's hard work, but it's free. And also grounding, which I love the text that you sent me a couple months ago where you were like, hey sister, I'm naked in my garden, sunbathing with, you know, naked in the grass or whatever, just thinking about you. And I was like, yes.
So embarrassed.
No, I love the text because you of all people who, you know, is just this gorgeous, glamorous supermodel who could afford things and who can do all these things. I love that your text was, I'm barefoot, naked in the grass, and, you know, and in your garden. And you recently said to me too, that that's the most important thing to you is your garden. And it doesn't have to be this, you know, extravagant thing, but being barefoot, grounding, being at the beach, getting those negative ions in, getting the sunshine, like being more minimal, and it doesn't cost a thing. In fact, it'll cost you even less because you're not adding so many things.
Absolutely.
But I say don't add things until you've taken away that thing and added in the grounding, the sunshine, you know, the healing baths,
and fresh air and breathing. And more than that, for me, it's also like the senses get awakened. So it's your sense of sight, your smell, you know, the air, the temperature of the air on your skin, and you know, like nothing in this world makes me happier than being in nature. Being with my children, yes, and if I can be with my children in nature, even better. Although, you know, they're not in a season, as you would call it, in their life. Like, they do not want to just go for a hike with me, or, you know, it's like, yeah, whatever.
Are they 17 and 23?
17 and 22, yeah. And
two, your boys?
And it's interesting, you know, they're on their own journey of wellness. You know, my 22-year-old now gets up at at 8 o'clock in the morning and works out, which was like, this is a kid who, when he was in school, because he had asthma and eczema and allergies, join the dots, he couldn't run. So he was so embarrassed. He went to an all boys school. He was so embarrassed. He'd run backwards just to make everybody laugh. And just sort of make a joke of the fact that he was going to be the kid that came last, because running was not his thing.
Yeah. And
so he grew up most of his life doing sports. You know, he's got lots of great sports that he's good at, skiing and those kind of things. But now to be getting up in the morning and working out, he takes his greens every day, and he takes Immune Boost and the gut support. Also, they're the boosters that we add on to the greens. But
I want to talk about these boosters too.
Oh, well, are they the Libido ones?
I want to talk to you about this too, because you are being asked a question about menopause and about libido in a second. But I just wanted to touch really quickly back to our kids, because you have a 22-year-old and a 17-year-old. I have a 17-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
But I didn't know this when Oliver was young, but I'm seeing it now. And exactly to your point of saying that now your son is doing this. We're responsible. It's hard as mothers, but we're responsible for ourselves first.
Yes.
Yes, there's different seasons where Ocean obviously, can't put her shoes on for herself, so I have to do that. But what are children, because people ask me all the time, oh, how do you get your kids to eat healthy? How do you do this? I don't. I just present them with options, and I do what I do. And then typically our kids will mimic, or they'll kind of see what you've done. So for your boy who may not have done it up until now, but now it's like, oh, well, he's seen you be consistent in your practice.
Yeah.
And he's seen you be consistent in your nutrition, in your working out, in your daily practices, that you're not preaching at him to do a certain thing. You're allowing him, just like with my 17-year-old, I've come into a very different season now where I can't tell him what to do anymore. I haven't been able to for years. And even if I did, it wouldn't work.
But then they figure it out themselves, because whether they, I mean, I love the fact that I would love to think that they learn from us, but they just need to be motivated by their own stuff. I mean, I think with mine, it's, they want to get girls, and so in order to get girls, they have to have good bodies. Maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know. But, I feel like they get motivated by their friends or by their lifestyle. They're not motivated because mom taught me how to do this. They get motivated by other things in their life, and that happens at different phases. And thank goodness we have given them a beautiful array of tools that they can choose from, because they'll never be able to say, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. But, or I didn't see this.
I think just being at peace with it, they're gonna find, their time to experiment. And even if it's with different foods and things like that, I had one child that I ate, fish fingers and rice for most of his life. And now he's like, oh, can I have some mozzarella, and can I have an avocado? And I'd really like to have sea urchins. And, they evolve. So any young moms that are at home worried about the fact that their kids have a very kind of basic diet, I wouldn't worry, because I do think that they grow up and they evolve themselves. And get exposed to different things, and they try things and they figure it out. I mean, they figure it out.
Yeah, and go through seasons. Like, with my 3-year-old, I have no idea what to cook for him or what to make for him. I just do what we do, and then we give him whatever, because one day he'll eat nothing. He will literally eat nothing. Yeah. And then the next day he'll eat everything you can find, or even like go through weeks and stuff. And it's not about, what I've changed in my parenting style from my mom is, you have to eat everything on your plate. Yes. There's starving children in Africa. You eat everything on your plate, or you don't get dessert. Yeah. And I've completely strayed away from that, where I'm like, no, if you're not hungry, don't eat. Yeah. Like it's not a way. I'll put less on your plate then. Yeah. And it certainly isn't you have to eat this and this and this before you get dessert. Because that just puts like an emotional attachment to food, which I think is.
Well, that was that period, that sort of post-war thing where people didn't have. I mean, we are so blessed in so many ways.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Speaking of blessings, you have
I want to know the
blessed me.
details.
Let me change the light so I'm not so embarrassed. You have honestly blessed me with this booster. So you sent this to me a year ago, more than a year ago, I think. Amelia Earhart Adventure. I love that each of your caddies have different quotes on them. It's so sweet. I love quotes. But this is the Women's Libido and Hormone Support.
Yeah. I made that for me. I mean, I didn't make it, but I needed hormone support, you know.
Yeah.
And,
so all I'm going to say about it is all I know is that it tastes really, really good, and it works. That's what I'm going to say. And now I'll let you talk a little bit more about it, because then I also want to mention.
I haven't stopped. You know what?
This little combo.
Used mine. Tell me about that. Okay, I want to hear the juice on this because I ordered one. It's still charging. Yeah. I want to hear the juice on it. Tell. Come on.
Well, it only needs to charge for 12 hours, my friend. So don't keep on charging it. But let's talk about this first, and then I'll add in this. But I think a lot of women who are watching, who are you're in my age, in their 40s or in their 50s, are dealing with hormones, dealing with libido, you know, and most, I have to say, a low libido.
Yeah.
And always asking about, you know, for me in my postpartum period, talking about, you know, getting that hormone shift back, and, you know, the whole, the doctor says you can have sex after 6 weeks. And for me, after all 3 of my pregnancies, I was like, can you just pretend that I'm not ready? Can you tell my husband that I need another couple of weeks? Because like this magical thing of 6 weeks and we're good to go back to having sex. And it's just not talked about of like, no, I wasn't ready physically or emotionally. And I certainly didn't know about any boosters or anything that I could do to enhance my libido. So talk about that for a second.
Well, I think libido is so important. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, you know, look, so often I feel like we want to dress beautifully, or we want to do our makeup a certain way, or we want to wear clothes a certain way. And we think it's to be attractive to other women, but I think really what we're longing for is that passion. You know, passion for life, that feeling about ourselves and about people and about
that feeling when you're in love and nothing matters.
But also that you're feeling kind of stimulated and excited about what's going on in your life, the way you respond to things. And I think you can't fix that by getting a new dress. I mean, or you can for a short period of time maybe, or new makeup or hair or stuff like that. It's sort of quite... it'll work for a small period of time, but really what we're looking for is that deep hormonal balance support that gives us, again, it's a feeling, you know, it gives us a feeling of
but the feeling is real. The feeling is real. The feeling is real. Like when I was in love with Arland, and I did.
When you were in love with Alex?
I know. Listen, love is not linear either. Love shifts.
It's true.
And I'm more in love with Arland than I ever have been. But the type of love that I was in when we first were getting together in lust, my hormones were different. So I went off of 3 hours of sleep, and I was still good to go. Like I was ready to hit the world off 3 hours sleep. Now I look at him and I'm like, babe, I'm exhausted. Like, I'm tired. And he's like, what? What do you mean? You know, when we were first together, you could go off 3 hours of sleep. And I was like, no, I need a little bit more sleep. Yeah. But that what you're saying, that inside, like you can do anything, that you can still have in different seasons. Yes. And honestly, that's what this gives me. And I know I look like a QVC ad right now. And I'm not just.
I'm so grateful that you. Yeah, I'm just so happy that it's been able to be supportive, because it was for me too. And it's just, look, it's a medicinal group of ingredients, plant flower extracts that, you know, we've put together that is really powerful. And you know, I started taking it and everything changed for me, because for me, it wasn't just the sense of libido, but it was like when my hormones were out of balance, everything was out of balance. And that happens when you turn, you know, 50, 55, 56. I'm moving on to 60 now. So skin changes, face color changes, spots on your skin, hair, just the texture of your skin, everything. It just sort of, there's a marked difference. And
because it's different postpartum, it's definitely different after you have kids, but then it goes into another shift when you go through menopause. Are you comfortable saying if you've gone through menopause? Should have asked you that before. Sorry.
Well, let's put it this way, nearly 60. And, you know, and having spent a lot of my life on the road where my, you know, hormone system was up, you know, all over the place because I was on the road and in planes and stressed and, you know, not sleeping much and not eating much. And so I just felt that I really needed hormone support, and Dr. Labshire really helped us with creating such a fantastic formula. And you can find that. I mean, our affiliates in the US sell that. There's, I think Blue Mercury have it, and Neiman Marcus, and you know, you can check online to see where we've got it. But it's been a lifesaver for me and for lots of women.
So I won't read all the ingredients because I don't want to waste time.
I didn't want to do that either.
This. I know. I want people to be, but I do want people to be able to buy this. So where, I know you said that, you know, Neiman Marcus and stuff, can they buy this online and ship it from Australia or no?
No, we can't. So we've got an issue online because of its medicinal properties, that we couldn't sell it through the way that we were selling it. And so we have fantastic affiliates in America that you can just go on and find out who sells the Libido, and you can get it on there online.
Okay.
So, but it is a really great product, and I'm just so happy to see you smiling about it, because that is one of the best gifts you can give somebody.
It really is, because what we've talked about a lot is from the inside. And if you have that feeling from the inside, like I love that you said about the dress or about the hair and the makeup. And we do, I'll speak for myself. I do this so that I show up not only for other people, but so I show up for myself. Because for me, even with depression, it was a big part of my program, because when I was in like my deepest hole of depression, I was in my pajamas all day. Right. I would even take my son to school in my pajamas because I didn't give a crap. I was just,
you can do that in California.
Yeah, well, yeah, you do. But I kind of wanted the world to see me as depressed because it was validating for me. Yeah. But then again, like we were saying, when I fell in love with Arland, and when there was that resurgence of something, it wasn't because of what I looked like. I put in more effort, but it was that feeling from the inside. And I think so many of us now are used to being depleted. We're used to our standard. I mean, obviously our standard of care, but I won't get into that. But our standard for a daily life is exhausted, depleted, dehydrated. And especially obviously now with the season that we're in 2020, people staying inside, staying fearful, wearing all the stuff that they're wearing, like everything is fear-based and depleted and sick. And what this does, again, I'm just using it almost like as an analogy, is it's something that is from the inside that changes the outside. So when I fell in love with Arland, it was something that came in from the inside and then just really affected everything on the outside. Everything, skin glowing, you know, it's like when you're pregnant, it's from the inside, but you glow because you're just full of life. Yeah. And that's what we nowadays have to do, is supplement.
With supplements, but we can also do it through other nourishing ourselves on the inside in other ways. So through meditation, through laughter, through connecting with people that we really care about. Through listening to music that we love, through reading inspiring material or funny material. I mean, nothing is better for the soul than having a good laugh. It opens up. First of all, it's the best diffuser for, you know, conflict. If you can find the humor in a situation, it just you know, it's very difficult to fight when somebody can find the humor in a situation, and break the tension. It opens the heart. And with an open heart can do anything. An open heart can see all the beautiful potentiality that is in front of us. And when you have an open heart, then you can have an open mind. And when you have an open heart and an open mind, we're able to reach to higher realms, really, to support us in whatever we're going through, and to see the learning in every circumstance, to find the wisdom in every circumstance, to see the purpose in every circumstance. And when we can do that, our life becomes lighter and more enjoyable to live, and more vibrant. We become more vibrant ourselves, and we are able to give more to others, give more to ourselves, and to truly experience our lives in the way that we're supposed to experience our lives. So, you know, it's not only through health and wellness practices, but it's through these other practices too, where we can nourish ourselves from inside. And it's worth it. I mean, the bottom line is it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, because you can see the results. As soon as you can start seeing results, then you see that it's worth it. I love what you said about laughter, because the years and years that I dealt with depression, I always thought laughter was shallow. I always thought, oh, people who laugh really have nothing to worry about. And I have all of these things to worry about, and my life has been so hard, so I can't laugh. Laughter just always felt shallow. But now, I mean, it's flipped a coin for me, and laughter is essential to health, to well-being, to youthfulness. Like everything that you described about practicing, it seems silly to practice laughter, but I mean, you know, our friends Kate and Goldie too are basically the epitome of practicing laughter.
They're so good like that.
Never known anyone that laughs more than Goldie.
And look at her. I mean, she has such a great, she seems to have such a great life, and she looks fabulous, and she's authentic, you know.
She has an aura and an energy of youthfulness. Yeah. And it's when you're with her in person, or when you see her on, you know, online or whatever. Yeah. But what that links back to for me is childlike behavior. Because, you know, when you have two little munchkins running around all day, the range of emotion on like an hourly or minute by minute basis is just, it's so what's it called? It's so tangible, and it's so it's so in the moment. Like they'll be crying one moment and then laughing the next, but their laughter
and they're experiencing the full range of their feelings.
Yeah, and it's okay. You're allowed, like they're allowed to, and they allow themselves. There's not this check that we have kind of when we get older. Yeah. Oh, you know what's amazing? You know Robbie from Therasage, our good friend. Yeah. Him and Arlen spoke, and he talked about the quantifiable measurement of energy.
Yes.
And
is it 6 feet?
So it's different for children than it is for when we age, which I thought was so incredible, because if you think about energy, and you think about these children who are not checking themselves on if they're allowed to laugh or allowed to cry, they just do it. And it's not a good thing or a bad thing. They just do it. That energy then can go out a lot further than as we grow older, and we just kind of are constantly checking ourselves, and should we be doing this? So we don't want to be acting crazy or irrational. Yeah. But that brings our energy back into here, instead of letting it go out and letting it expand into the universe. Like, don't mean to sound all woo-woo, but it's not when it's quantifiable.
Yes.
And when it actually is a thing. So practicing laughter and practicing something that isn't like, you know, isn't like taking something, but actually practicing laughter, or even
because it comes from within too. You know, we are the ultimate creators. We're creating that joy within ourselves. Yeah. And I think that's so important for us to realize that we are the creators. We can create the life that we want through navigating life through our hearts. I always say, you know, use your heart as a compass, and then let your head show you how to execute it. But it has to start with the heart. Angie, I'm just looking at the time, and I have a feeling, remember when we got cut off last time? So I just wanted to know, is there any other questions that we missed from your peeps?
Well, you know what? I'm going to turn the comments back on really quickly then and see, because I want to answer the questions of the people who are still with us.
There's still like
we can kind of have
a lot of people still with us, which is great.
I know, it's so sweet. And of course we could talk because we haven't even touched on this.
Okay, so tell us.
We'll do another live about this.
I want to know, so you charge it?
Okay, so you charge, obviously I don't work for this company at all, and I'm certainly not going to, you know, be able to do it justice, but just as a friend to friend, because I told you about this and I was so excited for
you. And I bought one.
Along with this, but this is, it's a device that's not, it's not a vibrator, even though it does vibrate, but this goes, what we were saying, it goes from the inside. So it's a healing device that affects your hormones, but it heals your pelvic floor and it heals things from the inside. So I'm going to turn it on.
Right. Has it got like an infrared, or is it like a laser? What is it?
So it is, it's an 8 or 12 week program. So you do this, it shows you, you know, it comes with a pamphlet, but it shows you here.
Oh, wow.
It shows you what to do. So can you hear it? So actually,
honestly, it sounds super enjoyable.
It is, let me just tell you, for women who enjoy self-care and enjoy a warm bath, it's absolutely enjoyable, but it's a health tool. Yeah. So this is obviously red light that is going inside of you, and it's warm. So it's warming up those tissues. It's bringing blood flow back into those tissues. Right. But it also has, I think, 10 or 12 different settings of different vibrations. Right. So again, it's a 12-week program that you do it every other day. And it strengthens, I think 3 days a week. It gives you, it shows the exact schedule in the pamphlet. But you squeeze it, obviously you're squeezing around it. So you're doing a Kegel, but you're able, you know, sometimes you're like doing Kegels and you can't feel it. You're like trying to get to a place. Yeah. Well, this allows you to feel it, obviously, because you're clenching.
So it's like a gym. It's like exercise and healing.
Yeah. It's literally a gym where you are being able to feel your Kegels, and then it gives you the response of how hard you're doing it, because it vibrates harder when you're squeezing harder. And it all is on a timer on here. So this gives you the like 6, 8, 10 minutes. So it goes, it automatically shuts off, because this is very, very, it's FDA approved. It's a medical device. So it is expensive. I think it's $500.
What's it called? People are asking.
I'll do a swipe up on my stories. It's called the Joy Lux, because I reached out to them after Arlen bought this for me, because Arlen was like beyond excited. Right. As your partner should be. They shouldn't be intimidated by this. They should be excited, because this means that you're going to have a younger vagina. It's going to be tighter. It's going to be more robust, and it's just going to be healed. Like it was actually formulated. I think I'm going to turn it off, but for women going through menopause who are having issues with moisture, you know, and so this brings moisture back. It brings blood flow back, blood flow back. But it's not just for menopausal women. This for healing, for pelvic floor healing after you have a baby. I mean,
so
I literally wish that they gave
and
this out.
Pleasurable.
Yeah, and it was amazing, obviously. Wow, so there you go.
I got one. Next IG, we'll talk about
it. yeah, we can both just sit here with our tools. Okay. So I know
people are asking me, there's one last thing. People are asking me where you can get Wellco. You can go online, wellco.com, and you can get nearly everything except for the Libido. And the Libido, you can go and just Google where you can get, where our beautiful affiliates like Blue Mercury, Sephora, Neiman Marcus, those kind of things.
Amazing.
What else have they got here? I'm seeing if there's any other questions. Can you see anything you're in?
Both so candid appear to be having fun. Honestly, we have so much fun. That's why we could keep on going. But Elle has another meeting she has to be on.
I do.
Wasn't expecting that when I joined. I know people who just joined on are like, what?
I know. Well, I wasn't expecting it either, to tell you the truth.
Oh, you know what I just noticed too? You and I are both wearing our buoys.
Oh, look at this, guys. So
that was not planned.
This I love, love, love. I love it mainly because Angie gave it to me, and I love it because Arlen gave it to Angie, and then Angie gave it to me. You can tell the story about it. This is on your gift guide too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on my gift guide. It's a buoy that has 86,400 seconds in a day. And it's just a reminder of mindfulness. It's a reminder that we get to choose, that we're given the gift of every second in every day.
Yeah.
And I love the buoy, the ocean.
Me too. And
it's by Sylvia Benson.
It's a beautiful way.
Sylvia Benson just gave a bunch of hearts. This is by Sylvia Benson. There is a discount on my gift guide as well. I have a mindful approach to gifting on my website. And there's a discount for this buoy.
That's where we're actually making Christmas presents.
Aw, yeah.
True.
We're making one with the number 5 on it, but
we can do hard things.
Yeah. We can do hard things. Oh, there's so much more. There's so much more that we can talk about. All your stuff is the best, Elle. What is that vibrator? The vibrator is on my website.
You have to ask Angie. She's tried it. I haven't.
There's so much more, like the beautiful skin. Yes, skin, it does come from the inside. The glow comes from what you put in.
It does. I mean, you know, and then you have great products. Like I use Gucci Westman. I don't know if anybody has heard of her products, but she has skin, makeup that works like a skincare. It's all clean. So I use her products, for example.
Amazing.
Looking at myself online and thinking I'd like to put on some cheeks because I feel like I need cheeks. But yeah, I think
what is that? A
really
cheek stick? It's like a stain. What is that you're using?
So she has these are called baby cheeks.
Oh,
and it's
cute.
So there's this one, but she's got them in all different colors, like this. And then this is a really great one here. This is like a gloss. You just put on to put a shine on your face.
Yes. Oh, when you turn your face
better,
like
I'm going to show you one more. This is the sneaky one. This does. So this gives you like a little sculpting.
I'm turning the comments off so that we can see what you're doing. Because I know you're getting ready for your next meeting, but
I'm using this time to get ready for my next meeting. But I still need to do, wait a second, I still need a little cheek here. There you go.
I love it. Oh, it looks so good because it's just so minimal and simple. But
and it's clean. It's clean and simple to use. And it's part of our philosophy of the way we do things. You know, no maintenance, but high quality. Like efficient, easy, considered, thoughtful, clean, good for the body, as well as, beautiful.
Yeah. And it really is inside and outside. Really quick, what do you do with your hair? Do you just wash and go? What are you doing?
Well, sometimes I do. I like do a bit of I have one of those curling irons. I just do that a bit.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
At the moment, like I really wish I'd done better on this IG Live for my hair, but I put it up on top of my head. 2 buns in a circle like Mickey Mouse ears, and then I let them out, and then it has some movement after I've showered. So that's a good one. Or I braid them, and then I let them out, and then they have that sort of beach wave.
Oh, yeah.
But, because we're at home so much during COVID, I haven't had a hairdresser or makeup artist here in a year nearly. So suddenly, like, tips on how to do my makeup and hair have become more important because we are on camera. And, so I'm learning how to do it myself.
It feels good. Even when you're not on camera, just when you're at home, it feels better. I feel more productive and I feel healthier and more vibrant when I do a little bit of something instead of just being like, ugh, who cares? I'm just at home anyway. I'm in my pajamas.
Yeah, because I think it triggers that thing of, look, we want to look and feel our best. It's not, I'm not one person to turn around and say, well, I just want to feel my best. No, I want to look and feel my best. And I think we can have both. They're not mutually exclusive just because,
one affects the other.
Yeah.
I think. I know you have to run. I love you, my friend.
I love you too. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk. You look so good. I've got skin envy. Like, you look so healthy. And I really love what you've done with your hair today. That sort of like side thing. Yeah, I have one of those too, but it looks a bit green today. I haven't done an IG live with this green wallpaper. I think it's all too green, but anyway, next time.
You know what? The words that come out of your mouth and everything you've shared so generously with your time, you're just the most vibrant and incredible person, and I love you. I love you
too, baby.
I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.